We will discuss about that now. Types of variables. How many types of variables we have in Java? We have means based on the class scope variables. Based on the class, our Java class scope variables are divided into two types: local variables and class level variables. Local variables are parameter variables. We will see what are those. First, I will make a note about this. So, based on class scope, based on class scopes, our variables are divided into two types. What are they? We will see now. Based on class scopes, variables are divided into two types. First one is local variables. Local variables or parameters. Local variables and parameters. Next we have class level variables. These are the two types of variables we have in Java. We will discuss briefly about these two types of variables. So, class level variables are divided into two types based on the time they are getting memory location. Means in class level we have two types of variables, like we have static variables and we have instance variables. Static variables will get memory when our class is executed, but instance variables will get memory when object is created by using new keyword. Instance variable will not get memory when class is executed. Whenever you create object of that class, then memory will be created for those instance variables. We will see with example how it works. First, I will make a note about this. Class level variables are divided into two types based on the time they are getting memory location. They are, we have, first one we have static variables and we have instance variables. These are the two types of class level variables: static variables and instance variables. The class level variable which is having static keyword in its creation statement is called a static variable. Whenever you are creating a variable, like I am creating int a is equal to 10, before int if I use a static keyword, then it is called a class level variable which is having static keyword. those are called static variables. If I don't use static for my int a is equal to 10, then it is called a instance variable. We will see how to create it. First I will make a note about this. Static variables. The class level variables which has static keyword in its creation statement, then it is called static variable. Else it is called instance variable. So the class level variables which is having static keyword in its creation statement, it is called static variable. Else it is called instance variable. We will see with example what is static keywords and what are the static variables and non-static variables and local variables. When it will get memory, we will see now. Here I will create a class some example. Inside this class example, first I will create static variables. Static variables. How we can create static variables? Before, whenever we create a variable, if we use static keyword, then it is called a static variable. Static int a is equal to 10. This is a static variable. Static int b is equal to 20. This is a static variable. Next we will create instance variables. Instance variables. If we don't use static keyword before creating variable, then it is called instance variable. Some int x is equal to 30. This is my instance variable. Int y is equal to 40. This is my instance variable. Next we will see how to create local variables. Local variables are nothing but whatever the variables you are creating inside a method, either it is your own method or either it is your main method. Whatever the variables you are creating inside a method are called local variables to that method, and those variables are called local variables. We will create public static void main string array args inside this I will create int p is equal to some 50. Then this int p is equal to 50 is a local variable. This is how we can create static variables, instance variables and local variables inside a class. So first I have created class level static variables by using static keyword, and I have created instance variable without using static keyword. If you don't use static keyword, then those variables are called instance variables. Then whatever the variables you are creating inside a main method or any method, those variables are local variables to that method. Now we will see when when memory will be created for static variables and instance variables and local variables when our class is executed. When these variables will get memory, we will see now. Static variables will get memory whenever will get memory when our class is executed by JVM. Static variables will get memory when our class is executed by JVM. When it comes to instance variables, our instance variables will get memory when object is created by using new keyword instance variables will get memory when object is created by using new keyword. This instance variable will get memory when I create object of this example class. For example, I am creating example e1 is equal to new e1, new example, means I am creating example class object using new keyword. Then it will create memory for my instance variable also inside this memory. Without creating object of this example class, we will not get memory for this instance variables inside JVM. And when it comes to local variables, local variable will get memory when this method is called by JVM. When JVM calls any method, either main method or from main method we can call our own methods. Whenever method is called, this local variables will get memory, and also this memory will be destroyed when our method execution is completed. Whenever our method execution is completed, for example, I have main method. Whenever JVM is calling main method, it will create memory for my local variables. Whenever main method execution is completed, then our local variables will be destroyed. Whenever our method execution is completed, local variables memory will be destroyed. This is how static and instance and local variables will work in our Java. Next, now we will create this example class and we will execute it. We will see when memory will be created for static variables and instance variables and local variables. Just go to Notepad, create a new class. I already have example class. That's the reason I'm creating exam class. In this class, we will create static variables, static int a is equal to 10, static int b is equal to 20. Next, I will create instance variables. Int x is equal to 30 and int y is equal to some 40. Next, I will create main method, public static void main, inside string array args inside this main method I will create local variables like int p is equal to some 50 and int q is equal to 60. Now we will print these local variables system.out.println. This is my p value. Copy. I want to print this q value. Q. This is my q. And also I want to print my static variables. My static variables are a and b. A and b. Next, we cannot print instance variables because we did not create examp object. Examp e is equal to new object. I did not create in our class. We will see what we will get for instance variable. If we print instance variable, what errors we will get, we will see. System.out.println. I want to print x and y. Now you can see it will show error for my instance variable printing system.out.println because we did not create object for our exam class. Just save it, Ctrl S, exam.java. Now we will execute this class javac example.java. It is showing me non-static variable x cannot be referenced from a static context. What this error is saying us, see, it is showing error for my x and y system.out.println. It is showing me error for my x and y because instance variables or non-static variables both are same. Non-static variables we cannot print without creating object from static context. Means we are printing x and y from static method, which is main method. So how we can print this x and y value? We have to create object for our exam class. Now we will create exam e is equal to new exam. I am creating object for this class. Now you can print x value and y value, but to print x value and y value directly you cannot print because you are printing from a static main method. Whenever you are printing non-static or instance variable from static context, you have to call this x and y with your referenced variable name e.x and e.y. Then it will print our non-static variables of our e-referenced variables from our system.out.println. Just save it, Ctrl S. Now go to command prompt, compile it, javac example.java. It has successfully compiled. Now we will execute java exam. Now it is printing me p value, q value, a value, b value and x and y. All values it is printing on my console. So you will get a doubt like why to use this e.x and e.y. Directly why we cannot print? Because you have instance variables like non-static variables like x and y. When it will get memory? When object is created. When object is created, you will get memory for x and y. But in real world, we cannot create with only one object. We cannot work, right? In real world, we will create so many objects of this class. When you create so many objects of this class, compiler don't know which x and y it should execute. Either it should execute exam e is equal to new exam, or exam e1 is equal to new exam e2 is equal to new exam. We will create so many objects. It will get confused which object related x and y it should print. We have seen in memory also. Like we have seen here in memory, whenever you create two objects of example, it will be having different memories. This is the reason compiler don't know which object instance variable to execute. That's the reason you have to use a reference variable name with your primitive variable. Then it will print that object related instance variables of that class. So this is how we can work with our static instance or non-static variables, both are same, and local variables.